DLB, One Jets Arm, says hammer O-line in the draft and free agency. Aaron Rodgers 8 can carry the wide receiver room. So I very much love the sound of that. My issue with it is that the free agent side of things isn't a guarantee you're going to get them. We have guys that have all different reasons as to why they may not want to be a New York Jet. Maybe they don't want a 40-plus-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles injury to be their starting quarterback. Maybe they don't want the taxes in New York and New Jersey. Maybe they don't want to live near the big city. Maybe they have family in another part of the country. Like there's a lot of things that go into making the selection or making a free agent pick, which is why the draft is so important. They are required to go to your team for 4 or 5 years, depending on the round. But yes, I agree. I do think you have to hammer offensive line. And look, I still think you need at least one wide receiver. You could even make the argument for like another lower end wide receiver too, if maybe to replace like a Cobb or a Hardman or something like that, unless you feel Gibson and Brownlee are adequate enough. That was not meant to sound as negative as I think that came out just now. Green Bean, hammering offensive line and free agency in the draft. Do you think AR8 can handle or carry the wide receiver room?
I don't like, but I actually agree with what you're saying. Like, we look at, the Aaron Rodgers thing as like this kind of, eternally positive thing. And I think by and large it is, like, for the most part. But he had an Achilles injury last year. The year before that was a down year for him. I know that they're all comparing Jordan Love to those numbers and saying that they're the same quarterback and blah, blah, blah. But they're negating the fact that that was actually a down year for Rodgers. Now, it would be a great year for us. We haven't seen a quarterback with those numbers. But for Aaron Rodgers, it was a down year. So he had a down year where the team he's been on for 18 years decides to trade him, comes to the Jets, has an Achilles injury. There may be players that, if they're looking at this through a business sense, might look at this as maybe not sure enough of a thing to come over here. So I don't know. Now, as far as carrying the wide receiver room, guys, I'm going to say it again. I know that we get into these debates about Zach and he's great, is the line. I'm telling you, I've watched so much all 22 film throughout the whole losing stretch of our year here. If we had a real quarterback that could just see what's there, we're an 8-win team already. You know what I mean? 8-9 wins, in my opinion. I think there's no doubt that a quarterback changes, even with everything. Now, do I think that an Aaron Rodgers would have lasted all year taking the hits that Zach did? Maybe not. Zach, you got to give him, the kid's tough. Like, physically, he's a tough kid. He takes some real beatings, and he keeps getting up and keeps coming back out there. You can't take that away from him. Mentally, whatever he's got going on, he's afraid, whatever that is. But as far as him, what he can take, he's a young guy. He's strong, and he takes a beating and keeps coming back. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers would have made it all year anyway. But, yeah, man, I think that AR8, as you say it, if he was here, even with these wide receivers, I think there's a dramatic improvement in what we would have seen from guys like, whether it's Cobb, Lazard, maybe Brownlee gets in there. Who knows? I just think that there's no comparison with the quarterback and the ability to read the field and hit the receivers. So, yeah, I think that he can. I don't want him to. I want to give him studs. I'd like to bring in T. Higgins and use a pick on a wide receiver that's not an undrafted free agent. I think the undrafted free agent thing, I 3 undrafted free agents on the 53, I'm not into it, quite frankly.